at all.
So I am delighted to welcome back to the show Paul McNicoll, co-host of McNicoll, isn't it?
McNicoll, yep, co-host of the Dode Fox podcast.
Co-host of a fantastic Dode Fox Dundee United podcast and live shows, I hasten to add.
Yep.
Well, Paul, how do I find you, Paul?
I've got the cold. Like, I don't want to say it's man flu, Scott, because I'm able to sit up and speak to you if it was man flu. You can. I don't know how to tell you. It would be at the game. So, I felt better, but I felt a lot worse as well. But I'm happy to be speaking to you tonight.
Thanks very much. Well, thank you very much for giving me your time, pal. Before we crack on, you guys have got another live show coming up, a sold-out show in January.
Yes.
Craig Levine. Now, first of all, you must be delighted with a sellout, eh?
Couldn't believe it. We took it to, like, we had one previous, and it was where we had Peter Houston and Craig Conway. Now, Peter Houston's a Celtic employee currently. I think he analyses the opposition for you guys. And Craig Conway, obviously, he was the goal scorer for us when we won the Scottish Cup back in 2010. Housty was the manager. So we arranged that night back in May, I think it was. It was the same night as the Champions League final. So we kent that we were taking a chance. We kind of banked on ourselves, and a lot of people say that's great, that's brave day and stuff like that. And it wasn't quite a sellout, but there was plenty of people there. So when we got Craig Levine lined up, along with a couple of ex-players, Paul Dixon and Danny Swanson, we just held it at the same place. It's at the Gardyne Theatre in Dundee. It had about 370 people, and we had we thought that's plenty seats for everybody that wants to come along. And it settled out in about 17 minutes, so I couldn't believe it. So it should be a good night.
Well done, son. Right, well, see, before we crack on to what I've got you on for, let's talk about Craig Levine, because it was interesting when, obviously, I follow you and I follow the podcast, so I get all your announcements and stuff like that, and obviously Craig Levine, to a Celtic fan, is a different guy. In fact, Craig Levine, to everybody apart from Hearts and Dundee United fan, is a different guy to you guys, right?
Yes.
And it's interesting because it's easy to get carried away with the whole no striker, terrible Scotland manager, blah, 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 or even what ended up at Hearts where he couldn't crack sack himself and all that part. But at Dundee United, you could arguably say his best spell as a football manager was with you guys, eh? I mean,
yes.
The Hearts first Hearts spell, arguably, but again, you wouldn't be far away. He was a very good manager for you, eh?
He was brilliant for us. There's no doubt about that. He was one of the few, like, maybe it happened with you guys. Well, it's definitely happened with you guys where your manager leaves because he's done well. So that was the situation with Levine at Tannadice. Usually United managers, certainly these days, they just get punted because they're stinking. But Levine was kind of headhunted by the SFA, so he had obviously done well. He came in at a time when United were bottom of the league, couldn't buy a win, hopeless, absolutely hopeless team. And he was very pragmatic. He thought, right, well, what's the problem here? We can't defend, we can't keep bees, so we're going to have to try and shore up the defence. He done that, and he slowly but surely, over 3 years or so, he built a team that ultimately, it wasn't his team when it happened, but ultimately went on to win the Scottish Cup. So he's still held in quite high esteem by most Arabs. But I totally understand that that's only United and Hearts fans that really like him.
I mean, for Celtic fans of that period, his rant about the referees will always go down in infamy. I mean, that was my classic.
Yeah, well, we had, when he was the manager of United, we had the game at Ibrox when Mike McCurry was the ref, and that was one of the angriest that I've ever been watching football that day, because it was just blatant cheating. From my point of view, and for a lot of United fans' point of view, there was goals that were chopped off for nothing. There was boys that should have been sent off. Not going to mention anybody in particular, Davy Weir, and they weren't sent off. It was just an absolute. Like, they had to win that day. I think they won the league. I think that was during the EBT year. So we're not even gaining them, but they did win the league back then. But he had a great rant after that game. He was basically saying, "What's the point? He should have took my team off the park. What's the point?" Because we didn't matter the day. It had to be Rangers had to win that game, and they might have won it. Like, you never know. But that day, there was some terrible decisions went on in that park.
And I remember it popped up on Twitter recently, and I actually went back and looked at the highlights of that game, and obviously I'm fucking totally biased. I mean, I'm not even biased, I'm totally biased, but yes, he was bang on the button. Right, so let's crack on. I've already primed you for what I'm looking for in this pod, and I'm kind of hoping it all works together. So basically, with the football away and the World Cup on, as well, you know, and the guys that listen, I like speaking to away fans and getting their point of view and getting their perspective, because no matter what, we're all just punters. None of us are getting paid to turn up and watch our team. It's not like these Qatar World Cups you're getting paid to watch it. We're just all, we're the same people. We're all kind of going to our work to go and we were talking on our pod about the experiences at Celtic Park, and I would guess that the experience at Celtic Park, never mind the football, is generally negative. And it's just something I wanted to speak to people. I've spoke with Celtic on a couple of wee fan forums, and I think if we as a support, talking about you, me, Kamana, everyone is, we kind of fight back and go, right, start looking after us better. I think that would be a good thing. Maybe over ambitious, but that's basic. So what I'm looking for is your experience of my team, more specifically, your experience of coming to Celtic Park. Right. So to flip on you, Dundee is legitimately one of my favourite trips. Right. It's easy enough to, it's not too far away. You get a couple of beers. And generally when I got up there, I'll drink in Dundee United bars. I'll drink in Dundee bars. Maybe it's because there's a amount of yous. I don't know. That's probably, but you stand with guys like yourself and just drink. There'll be no hassle. The two of will go to our end and we'll go away and that'll be it. Fine. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's the experience that you get. So we'll start on the easy one, right? The price of entry into Celtic Park.
Yeah, it's too dear.
As I know a bit of shambles. You tell me. Yeah,
it's too dear. And I've got my own thoughts on why it's that price. For United fans, certainly a couple of weeks ago when we almost scraped a point, but didn't quite get there. It was 35 quid for an adult and 22 quid for a kid under 16, I believe it is. Now, I'm fortunate and I'm unfortunate. My young lad is disabled. So when we go to the games, we get the carer and the ambulant ticket, which is essentially you pay for his ticket and the carer, in this case me, goes free. So to get into the ground, to get into the game, I was only £22 for me and my young lad.
Right.
If I'm having to pay 35 and 22, then I'm not going. I can't afford that. It's too dear. I think they're pricing people out. One of the things about the tickets for the last Celtic game, I always get the carer and the ambulant ticket for every team does it. Obviously Celtic do it as well. But for some reason, Celtic put a limit on it. So when I went to get my tickets for the match to the United shop, I was told that they were sold out. Much to my amazement, I says, we've sold out the away end for the Celtic game because we hadn't been playing very well. So I was very surprised. And I was told, no, we've not sold out the away end. We've sold out our carer and ambulant tickets. Now, that was the first time that I'd ever heard that there was a limit on these things. And apparently, it was the first time that the ticket staff in the United office had heard that there was a limit on it. So I think they had gave us 6 pairs of these tickets.
Really?
And what happened was I basically, the woman in the United shop that deals with all the disability issues and the supporters and that, she started taking a list of the people that were coming in and saying, can I get these tickets? Oh no, they're sold out. And it must have took about a week, and we went back to Celtic and it was fine. There wasn't an issue. So I don't know why there was an issue in the first place. I don't know why they capped it. I don't know why they capped it at 6. But I guess in the fullness of time, we all got the tickets that we wanted. It was just strange that that they did it that way. But the cost alone, I think 35 quid's too much, personally.
100%. And 22 banger for somebody under 16s. I don't know. That's even worse, isn't it? That's scandalous.
Well, the thing is, Scott, you'll know. If my young lad isn't disabled, I'm going to the game, and okay, I'm 35 quid. It's incredibly steep, and if I can afford it, I probably go. The young lad, he's 22 quid, but he's only 13 years old. So in most situations, the guy that's saying to pay the 35 quid is also the same guy that's saying to pay the 22.
Aye. The
So
wee man's no picking out his fucking pennies.
No chance. No chance. I don't know if I'll ever get it back for him. But
see when I spoke to the boys about this, like I said, I expected to speak, and everything you to say to me generally negative. I was kind of hoping we chinks of light, but see, hearing that for you, that's fucking horrendous, man. It's absolutely horrendous. In a time where we're fighting the Spanish league and the fucking German league and the English league for our wins, because our wins all want to watch fucking all these superstars. Like, and as much as we're winning that, sometimes they'll be, I'd rather watch Man United, right? And you're sitting going,
of course not.
You're charging your wains like
that. You'll take it, like, this might sound silly, but when I was growing up watching my own team, United, like, United qualified for Europe every year. I took that for granted, Scott. Like, I genuinely did. Because when Europe, like, what time I got into the football, probably about the age of 5. So until I was about, 15, 16, United were in Europe every year. So something like that I took for granted. You just do it. Like, you didn't know any different. It's not until it's taken away, you're like, Christ, they were actually the golden days. So I would imagine, like, for just now, it looks like you guys are on easy street. But, like, people will start taking that for granted. And I'm not saying you will, because you're maybe of an age where you've seen the highs and the lows, but guys that are just getting into it, they'll be thinking this is normal. And then when you get a wee dip, you maybe go 3 games, you only get 1 win or something, then they'll not be happy, can they? They'll be moaning, and they might switch off. They might go and watch a Man United. They might go and watch a Real Madrid on TV rather than actually attend a game. And the prices want to help them make that decision that easy for them.
Mm-hmm. No, definite. Fortunately enough for us, the Champions League's always there to give you a wake-up call.
Yeah. But do you guys know? I take it the prices go up for the Champions League, though, for you guys.
Yeah.
A lot.
I mean, I think we ended up paying, I think it was 42 banger as a season ticket holder.
Yeah.
If you're not a season ticket holder and you want a ticket, you're paying the best part of 60 banger. You know what I mean? And the thing is, what you said about the price, I think we're at the now everybody, you've got to charge everybody the same price. So the price we charge you is the price we charge your fans.
Yeah.
Which is scandalous. Do you know what I mean? But as long as we're locked in, and I know a lot of people hate it when I say it, the old firm deal that we've gone with that mob is that we charge each other 52 banger for these tickets. We need to Craig, the Kilmarnock fan that comes on, he tried to start the 2020 and it's kind of dissipated a wee bit now. I would love that to be a thing. I mean, you go down to the English League, away fans are charged 30 quid at most. I mean, see, we're at the stage now, I'd take that. I'm going to Murraybow on a Wednesday night, it's 31 quid.
But that's, I mean, it's no Celtic and the Rangers' fault per se. But the reason the ticket prices are that high is because clubs like my own, when they know that when they've got Celtic coming to Tannadice, for example, they can essentially charge what they want because they know that the demand will far outstrip what they can actually supply, and it pisses me off. Like I don't want to say it's exploitation. That might sound a wee bit too like on the severe side, but like it feels like that. Just because it's Celtic, or just me personally, like I don't care if it's the same with you guys because where yous are, but like United have got category A games, we've got category B games, we've got and obviously a Celtic, a Rangers, Aberdeen, a Dundee for us is a category A game, and that means that the tickets are dearer. Like it's 30 quid or whatever it is, £31. I'm not sure what it is because I get a season ticket. But
see, I'm the same.
But then there's a sliding scale. So if you've got, say, a Motherwell or a Livingston, it's maybe a category B game, and I think it comes down to 28, 27, something like that. I go to see United. Like, I don't care if they're playing Motherwell, Celtic, or whatever. I go to see United. There are category A games to me. They're all the same because I'm going to see my team. But it's just everything's monetized and everything. Like we're milking everybody dry. It seems.
Yeah.
And it's
at every level. Yeah.
And it's every club. Every club does it.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Pretty much how I expected that to go, but right. So before you even enter the ground, right? This is a quick one, right? I think football fans in general are treated like shit, right? We're not treated well. Be it fucking Catlin is into this small area to get into this small turnstile, and you've got horses dancing in your head and stuff like that. In general, when you come to Glasgow, do you see a difference, or is it pretty much same anywhere you go?
It's different if you go to one of the teams.
Right, okay.
My experience of going to Parkhead, I could sit here and say to you it's absolutely dreadful, and it is, because my team gets pumped every single bloody time. So me being a football fan, that's the main thing, and that's what I associate going to Parkhead with, my team getting bit. But like the last time, just a couple of weeks when I went, I got there early, parked up on Dunn Street because I just drive through because I've got the young lad. Parked up on Dunn Street, walk along the London Road. I could wear my scarf, I could wear my colours. I'm not an arsehole. I didn't walk about the road singing and dancing and shouting at Abdi. So I'm just mind my own business. Got to the ground, no bother. I didn't see any bother. When you're in the ground, like obviously you get, because there's the segregation, you're basically segregated by sometimes a line of stewards, sometimes a bit of police tape or something. Of course, there's banter back and forward. When goals are scored, there's boys running up to the tape and giving it the get it up, you sign and whatever. And like, I'm cool with that, like absolutely fine with that. Now and again, you'll get the odd wee thing thrown, and I don't really like that, but only because my bairn's there and I'm not wanting him getting struck with something. But again, I'm not saying it's just one-sided, like it'll go both ways. But my experience, so the other mob that would didn't really like who are at the other side of Glasgow, it's just horrendous who are there, I think. And I'm not just saying that because I'm speaking of yourself, and I ken that you're a Celtic man. But when I took the wee man through there, probably a couple of months ago now, like I says to him, look, no colours, we'll park the car, we'll get there sharp so that we don't have to walk through hundreds or thousands of them. And then at the game itself, there's bottles of Buckfast in a hand get thrown at you, and I get put, like, I seen a wee bit in so I'm not making it up. I did see a wee bit in and it didn't come near me, but it came into the United end. It gets posted on social media. You see them saying, how the weekend it was thrown, it might have got dropped. You're like, that this didn't get dropped, like it got thrown. And I get what I will say. I get that United fans didn't help themselves that day, because that was the day when there was the minute silence for the Queen. And obviously, you guys had it out the park the day after, but on that day, United's young team were singing about people being in a box and whatever, and that just did not go down very well. But after that game, we got locked in for about an hour. It was about 50 minutes that we got locked into the stadium for that, and they wouldn't even let you go to the toilet.
How long do you get locked in? Do you get locked in Celtic Park?
No. I asked when we were going in, because like years ago when I went to Celtic Park, like we did get locked in maybe for about 10 or 15 minutes.
Right. Yeah. They used to do the tannoy announcement. I always remember that.
Yeah.
They will be kept in for 15 minutes.
Yeah. Well, they didn't commit to a time these days, because they done it to Aberdeen last week, and they did it at Ibrox, and they just say, look, it'll just be for a short period of time.
Right. Okay.
So they didn't commit to it'll be 5 minutes. It'll be an hour. So you're just at the mercy, and you're just waiting on somebody opening a bloody gate for you. But no, we didn't get kept in at Parkhead. I don't know if that's because there wasn't that many of us, or
no, it's quite often. I mean, I see lots of wee fans walking by out, because I'm in the Celtic end. So like guys, if they're going to the bus or they're going for the train at Belgrove Street or something, I'd often see a load of fans coming across. Do you know what I mean? Even like Hearts fans, where you would have maybe that wee bit more tension, because we don't really have any tension with you guys. Do you know what I mean? So that's interesting. You see that, right? So in the stadium, right? So your experience would be different. I'd like to touch on the disabled thing, right? Because I spoke to a young Celtic fan. He helped me do a preview for the last Celtic Rangers game, and young Kevin, he's wheelchair bound, and he was telling me that Celtic were making this viewing platform, and they were trying to elevate the experience of a disabled or a wheelchair bound Celtic supporter, which I think's outstanding, right?
It's brilliant.
And in my experience, you've got all these wheelchairs all sitting in the front row, and who's getting absolutely soaked every week? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
These poor punters sitting there with fucking cagoules and panchos on. But so anything that helps. I presume you guys are getting straight away getting landed right down the front. What is the experience like there?
No, well, my young lad, he's got cerebral palsy, but he can walk. He
can walk. Right, so.
Like if you were to see him, you maybe wouldn't know unless you take a close look at him. So no, we just sit in with the body of the Kirk. Basically,
right,
he's no wheelchair bound or anything like that. But the actual buying of tickets, and again, this isn't it. It was easy enough to get them to Celtic once they said that they would give us them, but certain teams are an absolute nightmare. Like Livingston, for example, last season they tried to get tickets for Livingston, and they said, "Oh, you had to get them on the day." I says, "Okay," and I can't answer to my own question, and it was a silly question, but it had a point. I says, "Look, what if it sells out?" And I kind of wasn't going to sell it, but I says, "What if it sells out? You're telling me I can't get a ticket? I'm phoning up 10 days in advance of the game. You're telling me I can't buy a ticket? I hate to get it on the day of the game." Yeah. I says, right, well, where do I get them on the day of the game? You get them for the ticket office, it's beside the away end, you just hit a queue up. I was like, okay, what if it's pushing her in? You're telling me I hate to wait in a pushing her in, and I don't care how big the queue is. I don't care how big it's going to be. You're telling me I hate to do that instead of just like selling the ticket to me over the phone right now, because I'm here, I've got the dosh, and I'm looking to get a couple of tickets. So that's what we had to do with Livingston. Luckily, there was barely any queue. It wasn't a pushing her in, but like I was still a wee bit annoyed at that. They didn't make it friendly. Some teams to disabled fans. Even when you'll sell tickets online, a lot of the time the teams want to sell their tickets online, and there's a bit of me that gets that, because you'll get chancing bastards, Scott. You'll get boys that'll just go on and they'll think, "Oh, me and my mate, we'll just do that," because. To be fair, like as I says to you 2 minutes ago, you might not ken my young lad's disabled, and you didn't get checked at the gate. They didn't say, "Wait a minute here, what's the issue? What's the situation?" You just get let in because you've got 2 tickets. So I get that people would abuse that system, but certain teams, Livingston, for example, definitely need to do a lot better with their disability supporters and their relations towards that.
That's crap to hear, mate. That's crap to hear. I'm glad the Celtic isn't too bad in that way. See, in the stadium itself, right? So there's a running joke. Within Celtic fans that away fans come in, no matter where they are, they'll go and stand behind that big pole, take a photo, tell us how terrible it is, and then go back to their seat. Right? The pole's a shambles. The pole's an absolute shambles. There's no deflecting or denying that. But in the ground itself, is it a bad seat? Is there bad seats, or is it just your Donald Duck?
No, I think I don't think it's that bad. Like I've obviously seen a lot of criticism as well, but don't get me wrong. If I am genuinely stuck behind the pole, then it's a pain in the arse because you're going from left to right. In fact, sometimes United are through there. That might be the best view, Scott. Just hide behind that pole so you kind of see what the hell's going on the park. But certainly the last time I was there a few weeks ago, I was in kind of the lower section. As was said, there wasn't that many United fans. Maybe only took about 500 because we're stinking just now. So no, it was fine. Like there's plenty worse. Pataudry, for example, that's an absolute tip. That's a dump on end. But no, that's the away end at Celtic Park. For me anyway, it was fine. I'm sure other people will have their own thoughts, and they've maybe got a bad experience for whatever reason. But no, I've always been all right.
Right, so and then as your experience as an away fan, right? So in both of our lifetimes, right, we've seen football go for everybody all singing and everybody going. Certainly at Celtic, we have now kind of all your singing starts from these group of individuals. And for me as an adult now, an older guy, it's a bit sad to see that because I was one of the punters. I started the song kind of guy. Oh, you know what I mean? And that's gone now. So, but what's that like at Celtic Park? Like, is the atmosphere, is it good? Or is it basically, if we're winning, it's good, we're losing, it's crap?
It's
hard question. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, it is what it is. I suppose obviously, I think you're on about like the corner section that's got
Green Brigade,
the Green Brigade. They could stand, can they? Has that been converted into like a standing section? So that's obviously where the main noise comes from. I didn't really pay attention. Obviously, when you guys score, it's loud. You kind of know. Pay attention to that. It's incredible. It's incredibly loud. But again, like my thoughts on it are probably like coloured by the fact that United usually go through there and whether they play good, bad, indifferent, ultimately get beat. So it's just frustrating, I
always feel like a bum when you say stuff like that. I always feel like I'm pure ripping the hole at you, and I'm really not.
Nah, you shouldn't. It's your team. If you want your team to win, but I've stood in the away end at Parkhead and sang "What a Shitey Home Support" to you boys, and thought I was the funniest man in the world. That's what it is, There's the atmosphere. Probably on European nights for you guys is far better than it is for like a run-of-the-mill league game, I dare say. And then that's that's like a criticism that away fans would use against you. But then you can't be up for it as much when you're playing Barcelona as when you're playing Dundee United, for example. So the
irony of you saying that is when we played you recently, had we won 2-1, we'd have walked out there and we'd have been a wee bit critical of our own team.
Yes, yeah.
You guys have then scored late on 2-2, and the place came alive. And I walked to the place buzzing because obviously we'd done it again after the whole Jota Abada thing last season, and we'd done it again. And you're like, I remember coming out and nobody was criticising nothing. In actual fact, I remember people were all going, "Well, Dundee United again." They gave us, especially after what happened at your park. For you to come back and push it to that, it was good. You know what I mean? Like you say, if you've got a good team and we've got a good team, and you get a good game of football, we're all in here, aren't we?
Yeah, of course. But it was as you say, like it was. I think there was maybe even a wee bit of frustration coming for the Celtic end that day, because it was 2-1, and maybe the last. I don't know. United made a couple of subbies, and I'm not saying that we completely turned the game on its head, but we started growing into that game more and more and more, and then a cross went in, and like you might not believe us, but even when it went 2-2 and the 89th minute or whenever, I still wasn't convinced we were getting anything, honestly, because you've seen that movie so many times as a United fan. It's just there's no team in the world that has scored more late goals against my team than your team. Something was going to happen, but it just. Even when it was 2-1, you guys, it just felt like if you wanted to, like if you really wanted to get a third, you probably could have. But they were just playing within themselves for whatever reason, I felt. But again, 4-2, pumped, him greeting.
Right. The next one I've got for you is the food in the ground. Right. I don't know if you would indulge. I mean, I dare say when you've got the way you'll be kind of, I want a pie, I want this, I want that. Yeah. What is your experience of the food at Celtic Park? Because it comes under heavy criticism from us, and I presume that yous are getting worse, to be honest. But I don't know. I don't know if you've even got a strong opinion on it. You know what I mean? No,
it's strange. When I go to away games, we always get something to eat. When I go to Tannadice, I never spend it. No, never. Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe it's because I've travelled and it's kind of I should have been eating something at dinner time and I haven't, so I just say something at the game. But this Grand wasn't any better or worse than anywhere else. I don't think so. No, the prices were bizarre.
Yes.
Like £3.69, £3.13. I was like, what's that about?
Do you want the reasoning for that? According to John Paul Taylor, our SLO, basically we had a price agreed with him, and then they said we're going to put the price up along with inflation. And Celtic says, right, okay. And then they said, but we'll round it up, and then you'll get the benefit. And Celtic said, no, don't round it up on our sake. And so they put it up their percentage. Right. So whatever was $4.99 has went up to £5.43. Yeah. Because that's them. They've put that on, and Celtic have went, well, we don't want you to round that, put another 50 pence on. So that's why that's what I was told.
Yeah. Well, I mean, That makes sense. It's still bizarre when you, because I took a photo.
I mean, like, I'll tell you a story that I told them that day, right? So we come back to Celtic Park after COVID, after Brexit, and the wee man loves the hot dog. The wee man, hot dog at the game, bro. Like,
£5.15.
He's 6-year-old, and this big hot dog, brilliant, and that's part of the game. This is part of the thing, and I want him to go and I want him to enjoy it. And for the first year and a bit for coming back for COVID, there was no hot dogs. It was just pies, and he didn't want a pie. And I asked the boy, I said to him, right, not the cleverest behind the counter, all the young folk, you know what I mean? And I was like, so what's the script? You've got no hot dogs? Brexit, my man. It's fucking no Brexit. Don't tell me it's Brexit.
Brexit. But, you can go down to the local Asda and pick up exactly, 1 million hot dogs if you want.
So they brought them back, and I never looked at the price. I never looked at the price. I says, can I get a juice, a Fanta, and a hot dog, please? And the girl was like, right, okay. So I've got a fucking, and she's like, £8.70 or something, £8.74. And I was like, no, just a hot dog and a drink. And she's like, £8.74. And I looked up, I was like, it's like £5.85 for a hot dog. I was like,
yeah,
a hot dog.
I can. It's
committed for that point, you know what I mean?
No, that's it. It's cinema prices. Like for years and years, the prices that you get chairs in cinemas for a packet of sweets or something's like 4 times what you get it in the supermarket half a mile away. But football started doing that as well. So, like it's probably not worth it. Like a lot of things at the football, but I wouldn't say you were any better or any worse than any other away ground that I've been to.
Right. You've kind of already answered this because your experience is different, obviously coming with a wee fella, but I would presume you've got experiences of coming through with the boys and coming through. Do you ever have a day? Do you ever go to, like you said, you parked down, so you wouldn't go for a pint local? Would that even come into your mind? Like, say the bus got there an hour early, would you go into any of the boozers around Celtic Park, or is it a no-no?
Me personally, I probably wouldn't. It's very rare when I do that at an away game. I mean, I've maybe done it at Hibs because we get the train through and there's a squad away and we go to, I'm pretty sure it's the Hibs Social Club or something. It's just off at Easter.
Oh, brilliant. Aye, class.
We go there, although you get upstairs and try not to come downstairs. There's never any bother. But talking purely about Celtic, I probably wouldn't, because like I wouldn't have known what. I mean, I dare say there's boozers that you'd be like, oh, you can go in there and they bother, but there's also maybe boozers that you're like, I maybe wouldn't go in there if I was a United fan with your scarf and your hat on and whatever, because you might not come out with it. So I probably wouldn't. But that's not a big part of the football experience for me. Like because I go with the young lad, he's only 13.
Yeah.
It's fine. Like I don't need to go and have a couple of beers before it.
Right, okay, so we're just about to end it. I mean, I don't know if you've got anything else in your head that sticks out. I mean, I kind of think I know the answer to this, but if you could change one thing about coming to Celtic Park right now, what would it be?
I would ask Mr. Postecoglou if he could only play 10 players for the whole 90 minutes. Give a fucking chance, will you? He comes across as a lovely guy. I'm sure he would consider it. I'm sure he'd consider it. That would make such a difference. And then if I had to pay 35 quid, it might be worth it because we might get a point. But all joking aside, ticket prices, and not just at you guys, ticket prices across the country are too dear, in my opinion. And whoever started the 20s plenty, and right behind that idea.
Good man. Okay. Well, thank you very much for that. Before you go, again, anything you want to promote, and where do the boys find you on social media, should they want to?
Nothing to promote because the live show, as we mentioned, sold out, and I kind of sound like an absolute bam saying that, but that's just a fact. People have been at us for tickets and there's none. Even some of the guests are wanting more tickets in Wakana, there's none. And you'll get us on Twitter and Instagram at Dode Fox Podcast, and I think we're on Facebook too at the same handle.
Outstanding. Well, Paul, thank you very much for your time, mate, and I'll speak to you soon, all right?
Pleasure, Scott. Thank you very much.